This brief video provides further exploration of the new templates in FrameMaker 12. As we've seen earlier, when you create a new document, now with FrameMaker 12, you've got 12 different templates to choose from, either for a parts catalog or for a user's guide. We're continuing to work with the chapter template. We've already created one, and I've only made one minor modification, which I'll show to you later. When you first turn on the template, or when you first create a template with content, as you see in front of you, it will actually be pre-populated with English text, and it will also, as a default, be showing and displaying where conditions have been applied. And I've got my condition tag pod down here so I can see what the conditions are. So for instance, here where I see early aircraft engines, as I click on this, down here we can see that this has output 3D applied to it. And we'll also discover that if we go down to a smaller view perhaps, there are various condition settings to choose from that will make your text hide or appear. And there are several expressions here that are quite useful. For instance, sophisticated conditional text expressions have already been pre-saved for you in the templates so that we could create either a PDF or a web help version of administrative guide and user guide, etc. So if I wanted a PDF version of the administrative guide and I did an apply, you'll see that quite a bit of the content will disappear. And if I go ahead and change this to the web help version of the administrative guide and then go ahead and apply this, you'll see that I've got different graphics. For instance, that large airplane propeller has disappeared because that was a 3D graphic that would really be optimal for PDF output. Now, I'm going to go ahead and continue on with this version of the document. This is fine with me. The only thing that I'd like to do is to actually turn off the display of my condition indicators. And I'm going to go ahead and make the text a little bigger here so you can see what I mean by that. As we saw earlier, this text is conditional. So I'm just going to ask FrameMaker to not display different colors for the conditions. That's because I'm actually ready to publish to some of my output. So I'm going to take this document and scroll down smaller so we can see all of our pages. And I'd like to point out one minor change I made to this document. This is actually the only editing that I've done in this file. In here, I've actually imported a photo of my grandmother. This table that we see was actually blank in the previous demonstration, and I've just filled it in with some simple information about animals and a photograph. The reason I've done that is I want you to see what this is going to look like when we publish this out to the new responsive layout. So I'm going to save my document. And in my workspace over here, I actually have a publish action to choose from. Now, you can actually publish to all 5 of these outputs at one time. You can simultaneously go to Kindle, EPUB, and responsive HTML5. Just for dramatic purposes, I'd like to only go to one. So I'm going to go ahead and generate the selected output. And my default browser happens to be Chrome. And we're getting a little bit of information here on Acrobat Distiller, which doesn't really matter too much. We can actually ignore that. And in a moment, we'll see this responsive HTML5 and what it looks like in Chrome. And if you haven't seen this feature before, I think you'll find it quite exciting. So let's go ahead and view the output. Now, this has gone ahead and brought up the content in Chrome. I have pre-sized my window so it will just happen to fit here within the recording view that we're looking at here from Captivate. Now, you'll notice that as I resize this, you can see as I scroll down here, and so let's go ahead and select this paragraph here, lines for me. Let's go down a little bit further to where I've got that table with my grandmother with the deer. And the reason I want to go there, this is about the most dramatic thing that you can possibly imagine. So as this responsive layout, HTML5, is resized, notice that eventually our navigation icons are going to move from the right edge of the screen to the bottom as if we're going to a smaller device like a mobile phone. But watch what happens when we don't have room for the table. You can see that you can see that the table itself is actually rescaling dynamically. And this is the beauty of HTML5, that it allows you to have one output that will work with all of your devices. The point that we're driving home in this video is that these templates have been pre-designed with these needs in mind so that you can swiftly achieve dramatic and attractive results publishing either to PDF or to HTML5 responsive layout. This concludes our brief demonstration.